Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to this week's Protection Update. Ever since I started in this role at the end of April, I wanted to have a line of communication with the whole of the network where I can let you know what's going on, important updates, things to look out for, as well as interesting, relevant educational things around the subject of protection. The great thing was that we already had this Protection Update, which goes out each and every Friday, and you'll have seen some of the changes that we've made recently to try and improve it. But having spoken to many of you, I did start to realise that not all of you were actually getting it, and that was for a variety of different reasons. So I needed to find out exactly who's not receiving the Protection Update across the whole of the network, which is basically why I wrote to each and every one of you earlier this week. Funnily enough, lots of you did tell me that you've not been getting the Protection Update, but hopefully you are now, and this might well be your first one. So what is happening right now? Well, I can tell you that today is the final day for the protection survey. I mentioned that in the email I sent to you earlier this week, and a very big thank you from me to everybody who has taken the time to fill it in. The numbers are much better now, and that's going to really help us give a fuller representation of the thoughts across the whole network. I'll do a proper update on the output from the survey soon. I'm sure you'll find that really interesting, and I'll fill in the blanks with regards to those product feature questions that you'll have seen on the survey. Because you'll remember, I didn't tell you which provider goes with which product feature. I think there might well have been some surprises in there. So as a very final and last call to action about the survey, if you've not completed the survey yet, there is a button on this Protection Update, and you do have one final last chance to have your say if you press it now. Now, next week, I'll be announcing the first dates for our monthly protection focus workshops. What I want to do is have different protection topics each and every month and offer you a choice of dates to attend so you can pick the most convenient one that works for you. Now, these are going to be events that we control within the network. We will have guest speakers from time to time, but we feel it's really important that if you do take time out of your busy diary, there needs to be good quality content that helps you and it helps your business. So that's what we're aiming to do. We'll be running these on Zoom, and the capacity will be 100 advisors per session. So again, having more than one workshop will help everybody who wants to attend get a space. Now, I can announce right now that the topic for the first round of workshops, which will take place towards the end of July, will be trusts. Seems to be a constant reoccurring request that I'm getting from lots and lots of different advisors. So we're going to look at this in a really straightforward and a user-friendly way. The objective is simply going to be to build our knowledge and build our confidence at helping clients to understand what it's all about and why it's so important to have their policies written into trust. And we're going to focus on how we can articulate that message to them in a very easy to understand way. What we also need to do, though, is have the confidence to accurately complete those trust forms. I can tell you, they are a bit different from each provider, and that doesn't help. So I'll be bringing in some of the providers to demonstrate how to complete their trust forms based on the typical clients that we talk to. So I think it'll be a really good session, and I'll get more information to you about the dates and the content in next week's Protection Update. Now, another hobby horse of mine is the subject of risk and probability. Now, if you've worked in financial services, let's say before 2013, back then you had no real way of being able to demonstrate the likelihood of an actual claim to a client. The best you could do was look at claims figures and perhaps some examples of people who might have made a claim. But these days, and obviously since 2013 when they were invented, we've seen different protection tools come onto the protection market, and we can use these with clients to help them understand their own personal protection risk probability. In other words, if I had a protection policy, how likely am I to make a claim on it? So earlier this week, I met up with Claire from my pipeline, and we recorded a new Protection Insight podcast where we talked about the mortgage and risk report that's automatically built into Solution Builder. I know some of you use it to really good effect, whilst others don't ever use it at all. Personally, if you do mortgages and you do protection, I think it's a really good idea to use one of these risk reports, either the one that we talk about in the podcast that's in Solution Builder or one of the others. Again, if you want to know what's available out there and where to find them, just give me a shout. But I will talk about those other risk reports in future protection updates. So why might it be a good idea to build a risk report into your sales process? Well, for me, it sets a marker. It helps the client understand exactly what the risks are, and it's going to help them understand how likely those things are to happen. And I think what works really well, and you'll see this within the podcast if you use the mortgage and risk reports via Solution Builder, is that you'll see indicative pricing as well. And that's for the whole package. That's the mortgage payment, and it's also for the typical protection solutions. So in the podcast, what we're going to demonstrate is how quickly and easy they are to produce, and we're going to talk about why you might want to consider using them with your clients. As I say, personally, I think that every client should get to see one of these. If you do mortgages and protection, why not? Why not let them see the report? If you use social media, why not put something up there? Obviously, check it with financial promotions first, but people will be very, very surprised about some of those risk percentages, and that in itself can provoke some conversation and some debate. In your process, risk reports can be the very platform to have that protection conversation, and it's really going to help the client figure out exactly what their priorities are. So on this protection update today, you will see a link to the latest Protection Insight podcast. Now, unless you're quite new to the network, you might not be aware of this, but we've actually created a workshop that tags onto the back of the induction courses. Now, it's called Putting Protection on the Agenda, and it's all about sales process ideas that are going to help you create a clean journey when talking to clients about protection. And it's all based on sales ideas that real advisors successfully have within their own sales process. Up until now, that workshop has only been available for brand new advisors to the network, but I am going to open that up to everybody else. The next one is actually in July, and we've actually got these scheduled for each month for the rest of the year. So again, I'll let you have the dates for those next week, and you'll be able to either book on yourself, or if you're a business principal, you'll be able to nominate one of your advisors. I have now run it a few times, and it is really good. It's a full morning session, but it's interactive, and I think it's quite thought-provoking. So I'll do a proper write-up of that within next week's protection update, and I'll let you have the dates for those workshops as well. So lots of exciting things to look forward to. So that's it from me. Have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you soon.